Today I want to talk about the best Chilean left-sided attacker in world football. And no, it is not Alexis Sanchez, but is in fact a man who less than a year ago no one even knew he was Chilean. Benjamin Brereton was born in Stoke to an English father and Chilean mother, Andrea Díaz, and is therefore eligible for both nations, although this was a very little known fact until a group of Chilean football manager players uncovered it, setting in motion a remarkable chain of events, culminating in the Englishman Ben Brereton becoming Ben Brereton Díaz, star of La Roja national team, and his rise ever since has been nothing short of meteoric, to the point where he is now the face of Pepsi adverts in Chile. No, I am not making that up. But how did we get here? Brereton had only just turned 22 at the time of his call-up for Chile, but it felt like he had been around for years, having broken into the Nottingham Forest team at 17, scoring 3 times in 13 starts during the second half of the 16-17 season. In January 2018, while only 18, he notably scored against the FA Cup holders Arsenal as Forest knocked them out in the third round. He also made 18 appearances for England under 19s, so with his incredibly young breakthrough into senior football and his pedigree for England youth teams, Brereton was very much tipped for stardom, but it coming with him switching allegiance to Chile was definitely not how anyone expected it to come. 18 months after breaking into the Forest team, with Brereton still just 19, Aitor Karanka was appointed as their new manager and he had no interest in Brereton whatsoever, not giving him a single minute in the opening month of the campaign, and swiftly sold him to the newly promoted Blackburn for a sizable fee of around 6 or 7 million, showing that some managers did still appreciate his talent. However, in his first 2 seasons at Blackburn, Brereton was mainly used off the bench, managing just 11 starts and only 2 goals in that time. By the end of the 1920 season, Brereton had recently turned 21, no longer the young prodigy, but the player who hadn't really pushed on in 4 seasons of Championship football. Gone were the notions of him being a future England star. With just 10 Championship goals in 93 appearances, Ben Brereton was just the next in a long line of talents who never reached their potential. But in the 2021 season, there were signs of life. He was no longer considered a future elite, and that lessening of expectations may have helped him to finally become a regular starter for Blackburn at the start of this season. He operated on the left side of an outstanding attack, with Liverpool loanee Harvey Elliott on the right and Adam Armstrong, scorer of 28 goals that season, down the middle. Brereton was very much the junior partner of this trident, with the other two both being touted as some of the best players in the league, but he did still score a respectable 7 goals in 30 starts from the left. And you have to remember at this point, he was still only 21. That's a fairly solid return for such a young age. Had a 21-year-old player in their first or second year of senior football been putting up their numbers, they would have been widely praised, but Brereton was seemingly overlooked because of how long he'd been playing Championship football. But now let's take a step back. We've covered how in the 2021 season, Brereton had begun to show that he still had the talent, but let's go back to the early months of that season. The 10th of November 2020, release date of Football Manager 2021. Football Manager is widely known for its meticulously researched database, and prior to the launch of the 21 edition, the Blackburn scout for the game, Mark Hitchen, saw an interview where Brereton mentioned in passing that he was half Chilean, something that was unknown at the time. Hitchen verified that the claim was indeed true, and just like that, Brereton's second nationality was added into FM21. And as millions of players played their Football Manager saves, they spotted something intriguing that the game was very commonly simulating. Ben Brereton, an Englishman, was being called up to the Chilean national team. Fun fact, this actually even happened on my own FM21 save when I was managing Vasco da Gama. Anyway, by now the idea that he would play for England was long gone, but he would certainly improve Chile. Their golden generation almost entirely consisted of a core of players born from between 1985 and 1989 who were now well into their 30s, and the new crop were not up to their same standard. After their incredible spell of success, with strong showings at the 10 and 14 World Cups, back-to-back triumphs in the 15 and 16 Copas America, and reaching the final of the 2017 Confederations Cup, the end of the golden generation was marked with a failure to even qualify for the 2018 World Cup. The following year they did reach the semi-final of the Copa America before being battered by Peru, and I watched every game at the 2019 Copa America, and reaching the semi-final flattered them massively. With La Roja in need of regeneration, Chilean FM players began taking to social media to bring attention to the fact that Brereton was eligible. The hashtag Brereton a la Roja quickly became popular, and the comments of his Instagram started to be flooded with Chilean flags. Eventually, Brereton's agent was contacted to inform him that the Chilean national team would be interested in acquiring his services, and before too long he had a Chilean passport. He was called up in May of 2021 for World Cup qualifiers against Argentina and Bolivia, both of which were 1-1 draws, but Brereton remained an unused sub. He would have to wait for his moment, but it came just a few months later. 14th of June 2021, Chile's opening game at the Copa America against Argentina. A beautiful Lionel Messi free kick had opened the scoring for Argentina, but Eduardo Vargas levelled things up in the 57th minute, converting the rebound from Arturo Vidal's missed penalty. In the 77th minute, with Chile pushing for a winner, the fourth official puts up his board. Number 22 is coming on. Ben Brereton Díaz. That name sparks wild hilarity on Twitter, with jokes being made that this clearly English-looking man just stuck Diaz on the end of his name to make himself seem more Chilean, but Spanish naming does actually use both parents' surnames, so if he was going to represent Chile going forward, the Chilean naming custom of Brereton Díaz would be appropriate. His debut was well received, and although the game remained a draw, Brereton Díaz did enough to earn himself a start in the next game against Bolivia, and it was here that he truly endeared himself to the Chilean public. In the 10th minute, Arturo Vidal played the ball forward to Eduardo Vargas on the break. With the ball slightly overhit and the defender rapidly bearing down on him, Vargas tapped the ball across to the onrushing Brereton Díaz, who cut inside of a defender before calmly slotting it into the far corner. It was the only goal of the game, and the celebration said it all. He kissed the badge and his teammates mobbed him, Vargas immediately jumping on his back in delight. There was no going back now. Ben Brereton was now Ben Brereton Díaz, the golden boy of Chile. Chile got through their group with Brereton Díaz starting every game from here on and getting an assist versus Uruguay. They then faced Brazil in the quarter-final, although a change of shape from a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2 forced Brereton Díaz onto the bench. He came on at half-time for Alexis Sanchez, but was not able to rescue Chile from a narrow 1-0 loss. Brereton Díaz's Copa America was over, but he had done more than enough now to secure his status with La Roja. So, back to reality. Despite a very strong start and their star front three, Blackburn had a disastrous second half of the 2021 season, slipping all the way down to 15th, and with Elliott returning to Liverpool and Armstrong leaving for Southampton, expectations were not high for Blackburn going into 21-22. Brereton Díaz, fully embracing his Chilean heritage, announced in pre-season that he would now be using that name at club level as well as at international, and since then he has quite literally been a different player. At the time of recording, he has 20 goals in 25 Championship games, second only to Aleksandar Mitrovic, and Blackburn are sat second in the table, dispelling ideas that this would be a season of struggle. It is not to say that Brereton Díaz has carried them, but his transformation was undoubtedly the catalyst. As for Chile, their fortunes have dramatically picked up as well. Before the start of the Copa America, the tournament Brereton Díaz made his debut in, Chile were in grave danger of not qualifying for the World Cup again. At this point there had been 6 games played in qualifying, with Chile only winning 1 of them. Then, after the Copa America, Brereton Díaz missed all 3 September games due to quarantine issues, where Chile lost 2 and drew the other, making their chances of qualifying now look truly grim. In comes Brereton Díaz, who did then play in the next 4 games. They lost the first one, but then they won 3 in a row, with Brereton Díaz scoring in 2 of them. They then lost their next game, with Brereton Díaz absent for that one, so make of that what you will. But now, as things stand, Chile have a very realistic chance of making it to the World Cup, and the upturn of form when Brereton Díaz came into the side is the reason for that. It is amazing the effect that confidence and self-belief can have on a player. In his early career, Brereton was tipped for stardom, but when his progress stalled, people discarded him, just another player who didn't fulfil his talent. But all it took was for him to be shown some love, and the transformation has been staggering. The way Chile as an entire nation has taken him in has been beautiful to see. Their fans adore him, his teammates clearly love him. Blackburn has been adopted as the unofficial English club for Chilean fans, and in case you forgot, he is the face of Pepsi in Chile, which is hilariously brilliant. So if you ever wanted proof that a bit of love and confidence can make a colossal difference to a player, I'll leave you with this. Ben Brereton played 73 Championship games and scored 9 goals. Ben Brereton Díaz played 25 Championship games and has scored 20 goals.